seen his videos. How many of you enjoy those videos? Right. So they're just here, not for me, for you, right? So the most important man in my life, has taught me how to be a man, has showed me how to be a man, has showed me how to be a husband, has showed me how to be a community leader, a business owner, how to be a good man, And I tell you every day that I love you. I tell you every day. And this is about you. So I want you to tell us about L.A. Johnson from the beginning.
Trying to figure this out. Is this my birthday? Or my 50th wedding anniversary?
Black History Month.
That's what it is. Well, gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. And I feel unworthy just to be sitting in your presence. It is so much here that's unbelievable. Just to hear your story and what you do and your career is unbelievable. This is my best friend. My wife is first. It used to be him, but my wife came first. Then I put him in second. And then I have grandkids. And what I say to him and what he said to me is no joke. He is my best friend. And he is my best business partner and a person that, even as a father, I am 60, I'll be 69 my next birthday. And I think the reason I'm sitting here, because I think when I'm looking around the room, I'm the oldest guy in the room. True?
True. Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason he had me to sit here. Because I'm the oldest guy in the room. So, just a little bit about me. I guess I can start out with, I have owned as many as 50 properties in my career. And then maybe just a little bit over that. And you know, the strangest thing, I never took count. I was just buying properties, fix them up, and I didn't get into the counting thing, the number thing. I was a landscaper also for 30 years. I used to have people come around and they said, "Oh, how many properties do you take care of?" I said, "I have no idea. I started on Monday. I try to finish on Friday." And I do the same thing with my building. When I work on a building, I started with one and I go to the next one and I go to the next one. And honestly, I can tell you how many I have today, I think. I just keep buying them, fixing them. So this is how I got started. And I'm always baffled when I talk to guys about real estate and ask them, what are you waiting for? And the first thing they say is, I'm trying to save money. I need to save some money. And my comments to them is that you don't need to save money. My first building wasn't my money. My first building, we didn't have any money. You know, I worked just as hard as anybody else. And what I did have, though, I had a dream. And I had a goal. And I said to myself, I was 12 years old sitting on a porch, my father's home place, looking across the field, and said to my cousin, had no idea what I was saying. I said, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to own my own business, and I'm going to choose my own destiny. 12 years old. My father worked in the slave quarry. My mom did this domestic work. It was 8 of us. I'm one out of 8. And none of us ever owned a business, or my father, 9 siblings, never owned business. And where did that come from? I had no idea. And then when I think back on it, I'm saying to myself, wow. 35 to 40 years later, I went back to the same house, stood on the same porch, looked across the same field, talked to the same cousin, and she said, Lenwood, do you remember when you was like 12 or 13 years old and you looked across that field and you said, you're going to own your own business? And she said, look at you now. And that thing hit me like a ton of brick. And I said, oh my goodness. I said it, but I didn't take it back. I said, oh my goodness. I said it, and I didn't take it back. And then it dawned on me, the problem that I find that a lot happens is we say things and then we take it back. We said, I want to start my own business. We said, I want real estate. There's something happened, then you said, I don't want to do that. I go do something else. And just about ready to walk through that door, but I didn't take it back. I walked through the door. So my first property I was doing, when I had landscape business, I was doing cleanup for other landlords. And I saw how they treated that place. And there was a gentleman that, he became my godfather. And I did some cleanup for him. And by that time, I was talking to someone who had a child in college, and they was talking about this line of credit. I'm thinking, what is that? I'm from the country. We don't know this stuff. The only thing we know is you get a mortgage, you pay your note, but that's it. And most of us, be honest with you, back at then, we didn't refinance. It was unheard of. It wasn't even in our vocabulary to go and refinance something. So this gentleman was talking to me, actually was, I think it was Ben Mitchell. Said, a good friend of mine, even today, and he said, he was telling me about the line of credit that he used to purchase things. I'm thinking, what is that? And so I started doing some research on it, and my first line of credit was $75,000. And I said, oh, so I have $75,000 that I can use, but I didn't get it to use on real estate. I've got it to put him his first year in college. And so the gentleman said, my godfather now says, I have this property that I want to sell. I just don't want to get rid of it. And he said, you be a good person for it. So I said, and do what? He said, I think you'd be a good landlord. I'm thinking, no, because I see how you treat your tenant, and then I also see what your tenants do to your building. So why would I be a good landlord? Now, I'm cleaning at your mess, and I cleaned at that mess. So I'm not, oh no. So then I got to thinking about it. I went home and started thinking about it. I'm thinking, I would be. Because I think that I'm a very particular person, and I, watch how I do things, and I like to fix things. And my first building I bought was $45,000, never forget. And I fixed that building up. I went back to the bank. I put a mortgage on it. I raised that building from $45,000 I purchased. And I went back to the bank. They said appraised value $105. I said, oh my goodness, I got it now. I got it now. I took and refinanced that building, got my $45,000 back, put money back in my line of credit. I said, oh my goodness. I was home sweet home. And then I went and found another building, did the same thing, because cash is king. I did the same thing again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And I tell guys all this all the time, I say, listen, don't wait until you get money. You find the money. And I found the money, and even today, and I don't use my money. I use everybody else's money. So
he uses my money.
I do use some of his money too. And speaking of that, I'm gonna go all over the place.
I use his money. It's only right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And so what I did was, and it's true. Sometimes Alan and I partner up. One of the things I told Alan is this: when Alan graduated from school, and I told him, I said, listen, man, you can't rent. You got to buy a place. You can buy a place. You stay in there 2 years, and then you fix it up, and then you sell it. And then that's what he did. And the ball started rolling after that. But I also told him, I said, one of the things, it was, this is one of the things I always say. Listen, you can have a dream. You can have a dream, you can dream all you want. If that dream lays in the bed, that's all it does. You got to get it off the bed. You got to get it up. And don't be afraid of it. You'll make it work. listen, gentlemen, I'll go around this tape and I'm thinking, my goodness, it's so much here. True statement. I'm dyslexic. I was born dyslexic. I graduated from school in 1969 on 6th grade reading level. True statement. Sure did. Spent most of my life early in my career, people tell me what I could not do. Aborted hook and sinker. Sure did. And then all of a sudden, they came along. And I chose not to buy it anymore. I said, no, I can do something. I can make a difference in my life. First, hired a private tutor, went back to school for 2 years, a private tutor. For 2 years, first book I ever read called The Invisible Man. During the nighttime, I was going through walls. Vroom. I was dreaming that book, true statement. There's no shame in my game. I tell the story. I wrote a book on my life. I think you read it one time.
Yeah, I could only read it once.
That's true.
I couldn't.
And so then what I started doing, I never forget, one time I worked in a grocery store, and this older gentleman came up to me. He said, boy, the only thing you good for is digging ditches. Sure did. I looked at him and smiled. I said, yes, sir, that is true, but somebody gonna pay my life for him. Little did I know I started a landscape business, and I was the second largest landscape business in Charlottesville. And Charlottesville is a big little town. Yep. And not only that, but from that, spiraled out of real estate. And, then I started, for me, what really motivated me, and I spend a lot of time on it now, because Al and I, we talk almost every day. I listen to a lot of podcasts and motivating, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I know a lot of people who get in real estate business, first thing they do, they're going to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki, right? I tell them, I said, read it and tell me the first house you buy, and I'm going to buy it from you, pennies on the dollar. True statement. I said, because you need knowledge first. A lot of information we get sometimes is not, is to sell something. I want to do more than that. I want to change people's mind. I want you to see something. I want you to feel something. And I ask people this all the time. I said, what comes first? Desire, commitment, or passion? They said, passion. I said, yes. And if you listen to Rich Dad Poor Dad, you have passion. You're not grounded. You're not rooted. You don't have any information. Then all of a sudden the tenant does something and they're going to make you mad. Now you're going to sell the property when you should have hung on to it. And then you can build off that property. But because you don't have the right information, hurry up and say, I would have freed more if only in that mind they was in slavery. So how can we break that and feed off each other and realize that we can do this thing? I started out with me really wanting to do something for myself. And then from that, my kids and other people, I spent a lot of time talking to one-on-one to young men about, you can do this, this is how you do it. But I'm always starting to say, listen, I'm not creating anything new. Read this book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, good book, started with that. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Success to a Parliamentary Attitude. Richest Man in Babylon. I go through all these books because there's information in there. And one of the things I found out, there is a key to success. And I found that key. And once I found it, I never looked back. Do I have some ups and downs? Absolutely. They're gonna come with the journey that we're on. Absolutely. But then if we could feed off each other, because I would call Al and say, oh man, what about this? And you're thinking that, listen, I've been doing this stuff for 40 years. But he's my go-to. And this is what I always also tell people. So I'm hoping I'm going around the way. Listen, all of us should have 5 people around us. And those 5 people is our pal group. We have to feed off those 5. Don't get 10. Please don't do that. You need 5 people around you that you can feed off of. And those are your pal group. Those are the ones you can pass information to and ideas. And we're going to be truthful with one another. And I guarantee if we do that, we can reach any goal that we want. but you got to be willing to do that. So then, getting back to my real estate, then I just started buying buildings. But, you know, one of the things I always tell people, you know, I like your idea, but one property is not enough, brother. You can't be afraid of it. No, why set the bar high? Why not be 3? You end up with 2? Fine. Set the bar high. Don't stay too low. I always tell people all the time, listen, you got to get off the ground. If you shoot for the stars, land on the moon, at least you got off the ground. You know, don't be afraid of it. We can do this thing. We are actually running out of time. But we got to get busy and do this. We can do this thing. We can buy all the problems we want if we can only get together and put our thoughts together and use people like Sean and other people who have the finance and the funds to help us get there. We can do it, and I'm not afraid of it. But I do tell people this all the time. Now, I could be wrong by some of y'all bankers. I never deal with the big box bank. I always deal with the small bank. Because those are the ones going to get you there. I've had so many doors closed on the big box bank, from the big box bank, and I never had one closed on the small bank. Because they are looking to help you get there. So, right now, Al and I are building affordable homes down where I live. I'm building 6 houses this year. And we also have some land that we put in 18 townhouses on it. And I'm almost 70, and I just refuse to stop. You know. And you know, my goal is to leave a legacy for my kids and my grandkids. Really. And I always say, listen, this is my motto this year. How can I have a seat at the table? You said, I go into the bank. They said, Mr. Johnson. I drive up to the McDonald's window. I said, I want. I didn't say, may I? I'm spending my money. It's all about what comes out of here. I said, I want a Whopper. I've learned, watch it, because what comes out of here takes form. I said, I want a Whopper. I didn't say, may I? It's my money. When I go into the bank, I said, I want you to help me do this, this, and this. Now listen to this. I respect the banker. He gonna tell me what he can do, what he cannot do. But this is the truth. It takes on a different face when you walk in there with that confidence and your portfolio to say, listen, this is my portfolio, this is what I have, and this is what I want to do now. And rarely is they going to say no to you.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
What was the real estate deal that shifted everything for you?
Ruckersville?
Was that the real estate deal that shifted everything for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's from Ruckersville in here?
Sean.
I spent a lot of time in that building too, unfortunately.
I bought a property in Ruckersville that I didn't have enough money, and that's what I was saying. A lot of times I don't use my money, so I didn't have enough money to pay down on it. They need $80,000 down. It's a 7-unit apartment building, and it was offered to me 2 years before I bought it, and but I needed to pay $80,000 down, and I was figuring out how to do it, and I started talking to another investor, not an investor, but he actually bought. He bought a lot of commercial building, and I did this loan. And he said, I was talking to him, and I said, listen, man, I'm looking to buy this building. They want to sell it to me. They want $250,000 for it, and I don't have the money because I need to pay 80% down because they want, I think, 75% down or whatever. And he said, L.A., I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want you to take your portfolio. I'm going to go to 2 small banks. I want you to take one to my banker, and I want you to take the other one to the bank, to this bank. And then he said, then you tell my banker, said the first one they will give you the loan is the one you're going to do business with. And I've been doing business with them over 30 years. Over 20 years since then. And I bought that building for $225,000. I worked on it. The building was bringing in $3,000 a month. Now it's bringing in almost $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that building is worth almost $1 million. Yeah.
He does know that building. Tell me, if you had to go back and do it all over again, what's one thing you would do all over again in your real estate journey?
Almost keep everything.
So say that again.
Keep almost everything.
Keep almost everything.
Yeah, at least keep 90% of it.
Okay.
Because listen to this, you have to think about long-term income. The problem that I found with a lot of people who get in real estate business, they want to buy, fix up, flip, and sell. For years, I did not do that. I kept them because what the bank want to see is your debt to income, but your cash flow. True? And my cash flow, because I kept my building, I had a strong cash flow because I also did all my work. So I did, renovation, I did it all. I mean, I might have had another guy help me. But I would take a building that, and then another thing I would never ever do, I would never buy a building with a negative cash flow. I don't give a rap where it at and what it look like. I'm not gonna buy it unless somebody else have it. All my buildings gotta have a positive cash flow, and all my buildings have had a positive cash flow. And I'm not talking about $15, $20, $30, $40 either. I leave those things alone. I already know where I wanna be. If my building was making $300, $400, $500, $800, I just left it alone. I let somebody else have it.
What about the people who aren't handy? Like the people who don't know how to turn a wrench and do tile and do paint?
Oh, get people around you. That's easy. Everybody knows somebody. And I wasn't afraid, I was not afraid to put people around me that can do certain things. If I need to change out the electric box, breaker box, I didn't Google it and try to figure it out because it's too dangerous. I just find somebody who can do it. Guess what? I can write it off. Don't be afraid to spend the money. I write it off.
Yeah, I also think the key and I wanted to kind of get to this, is my dad, even though someone else might do it, he was always on site. He was always looking and asking questions. And we get so hands off and so detached from the property. We just want to go big boy and say, oh, I got a property, I'm going to let. No, he was actually in there learning it so that when the next time came, right, he knew much more than he did the first time. And that would go property to property to property. After 50, you know about electrical panel. You might not put it in, but you know when it's a fair price and when it's not a fair price, right? And then also the power of relationships for the deals that you've had. Number one, how did you cultivate those relationships? And number two, how important were they to your real estate success?
Well, it's critical. It's critical. Early in my career, honestly, I never bought a property through a realtor or in the newspaper. Somebody would call me because of relationship. Oh, my aunt just went in the nurse home she want to sell. So relationship networking is critical because somebody gonna know somebody. So 90% of the properties that I've been buying over the years, I never bought through a realtor. And like I said, I bought over 50 properties. I tell you another thing too. Have had strategies that I had to fix the building up. And so what I did was I paid the person part of the money that they wanted. Then I fixed the building up. Then I went back and refinanced because now I need to get the value up to get my money out and make sure I have a positive cash flow. So while she was holding the note, I fixed the building up, fixed 4 of them up, right in a row that way. And so what I did was I had the person to say, listen, you hold on to the property, you keep it in your name. I'm going to manage it and I'm going to fix it up. And then we agreed to sell the property 3 months later. By then, I took those properties that were worth $45,000, had them raise the value of, had them refinance at $105,000. And only thing I did was use my money to fix them up. And I still gave that gentleman his $45,000 that he wanted for the building. And I started with positive cash flow.
Numbers are a lot higher, right?
A whole lot higher.
A lot higher.
So in other words, what I let him do, I let him hold on the property. I didn't just go in there and start buying the property. Because if I bought the property at $45,000, then the value of the property only worth $45,000 or $50,000. I wanted those properties to be worth double the amount. So I let the gentleman hold on to them. And I fixed them up. And then I went back and refinanced.
The art of putting together the deal, right? So I'm hearing that you, number one, you had people around you that could help you understand how to put a deal together, right? Because Josh, you know, Travis, you know, it's an art to putting a real estate deal together. And there's no school for it.
Right.
You found a school for it?
Trial and error.
Have you found a school for it, fellas?
No.
There's an art to putting a deal together. Then we have a deal in front of us, but guess what we do? We don't want to call nobody because we don't want that person to find out about the deal. But you don't know how to do the deal, and what ends up happening with the deal? It goes to somebody else, right? We got to get out of that. We got to, like my deals that I got to talk that thing out, right? Number one, God is abundant. There are going to be more opportunities, right? But I need to make sure that I learn. I need to make sure I learn how to put a deal together. We are hustlers. Like, how many of y'all have been in the club when y'all like, yo, this is about to pop off, and it's time for me to go? Like, we got spider sense. We're smart. We're intelligent. We've been in every room, many rooms we've been in where we look like we are the only person to look like us in a room. We had to maneuver. That is a skill set. That is a skill set, right? You have to start using that skill set to put deals together, right? To create relationships, right? To meet people that can help you to the next level, right? And what I learned is my dad, man, he used to talk to everybody. That's a quick story. So Camilla, she tells her teacher, she goes, my daddy's got a lot of brothers. And Crystal's like, well, what are you talking about? Like, your dad's only got one brother, man. And she goes, nah, everywhere Alan go, hey, brother, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? What's up, brother? You know where I learned that from? I learned it from him.
Never met a stranger.
Never met a stranger.
That's
and
it.
The last four real estate deals that I purchased have all been people I've known. They'll all make money. I'll probably make from these real estate deals probably $200,000 from a relationship. Right? From a relationship. Are we spending time cultivating relationships? And are you trying to take from the relationship? Or are you giving to the relationship knowing it's going to come back 360? Right? So what I wrote down is the dream wasn't about you. The dream was about me. Right? The dream was about Camilla. It was about Sydney. When you get into real estate with that focus, that's how you get people to say, oh, you know, hey, you buying a house? I want to sell it to you. Right? Those are the things that we need to start thinking about, right? Are we creating those types of relationships where we can get that fruit back, right?
But also don't be afraid to pass them on. I have, in my career, I probably have helped 10 or 15 guys buy their first property that I knew was a great deal because it was so good that I was sweating telling them. And that's the truth. I have one guy in particular right now, Robert Stratton, good brother, good friend of mine, that his properties started out at $70-some thousand, just had them refinanced for $200-some thousand. I knew it was a good deal. He bought 4 of them. I said, Robert, man, and you know, so sometimes we put our foot in the mark because I always tell him, I said, Robert, you'd be great in the real estate business. I don't want to do it, you know. And I said, man, this would be great. So these property came up and I was talking to Rob about it, and Rob said, hey, I want to buy all of them. I'm thinking, oh no, man, they're mine. You're supposed to be helping me. But I passed it on to him, and today he still have them, and he has since retired from his job at University of Virginia, from those properties. And there's another guy, a friend of ours named BJ in Richmond. I found some property in Richmond that the girl called me on and wanted me to buy. And I knew BJ through Alan. And I called BJ. I said, BJ, you down in Richmond, man. You need to buy these houses. Come on. I'm going to meet you down there. We're going to walk through. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. And BJ sold them recently and made a nice profit. But he had them for years. Yeah, had them quite a few years. And don't be afraid to pass them on. Because we shouldn't want to try to buy everything. Don't be afraid to pass them on. And then also, listen, sometimes you really need to do your homework. Because if you don't do your homework, it could cost you. So always ask questions. And I did the same thing in my landscape business. I've had 8 guys start their own business from my landscape business. Don't be afraid to pass it on. It's not about me. When we get in this business, and sometimes we get in, we make an oath on the way. We say, God, if you bless me, I'm going to bless somebody else. How many of us have said that? If you bless me, I'm going to bless somebody else. He said, okay, I'm going to wait on you. I'm going to wait. And then all of a sudden, something goes off, said, pass it on to Joe over there. He said, no, I ain't doing that, man. This is too good. I'm keeping this one. Then all of a sudden, that other side of your brain started going, no, you made the promise. And just don't be afraid to pass it on.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important. So when you came out of landscaping, owning your own business, to owning real estate full-time, what was that transition like, and where did you feel like you needed to be financially, where you were going to live completely off of your real estate and call this like, this is my career, like I am a full-time real estate investor?
Well, I think the same thing when I used to be a meat manager for Safeway, when Safeway was in the Charlottesville area. And one of the things I said when I started my landscape business, that if I could double my salary, then I would leave Safeway and go full-time in a landscape business, and I did. I ran a landscape business for 30-some years. And I said the same thing with my real estate business. I said, once I can double my income, and then I would go full-time in a real estate business. Now, for me, it was different because my wife has MS. So when I got into the landscape business, I was also running when I got into the real estate business, I was running the landscape business, I was taking care of my wife, going home, getting her ready, and then I was going out and working on buildings. So I was telling the gentleman, I have this, even today, I go to bed at 11:30, I wake up 2:30, 3 o'clock every night, every morning, faithfully. I put a podcast on, I listen to the podcast, and I try to go back to sleep. But I've been doing it for years. And when they was young, Alan know 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the shop, shopping blades and greasing lawnmowers and getting those mowers ready. I do the same thing in my real estate business. And you know, the thing about this business is we got to work it. I'm committed to working it. I'm not going to ask nobody else to. I control my destiny. And that's, for me, that is important. I cannot leave somebody else. Even right today, we're building a hearth, and it's hard for me to walk away from it. And that's who I am. So, and that's been my success, because now I can I'm certain when I'm spending, and it's important for me. So,
So tell me, and we're going to get to your question. I'm sure you guys have some questions. Tell me your best tenant story.
Oh, my worst tenant story?
Your worst, best, worst, whatever.
Well, I had, my best one, I put a young lady in my building on the 1st of the month, 15th of the same month, I put her. You said, how do you do that? Sure enough. Went to church with her too. Sure did. I tell people, my tenants all the time, even today, I say, we're going to get along real good. They said, really? I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to do what I say, and you're going to do what you say. I fix my place. So when I work on a place, I live in it. I can live in it. I don't cut corners. For instance, if I look at the hot water tank is 10 years old when I buy it, I'm taking it out. I'm not leaving it. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to save money. No, I'm taking it out. Now, if my HVAC is 25 years old, I'm taking it out. Listen, I've been in this business for a long time. I woke up one time in the middle of the night to fix something, that's a fact. And the only reason I woke up in the middle of the night to fix something because a tree fell across the driveway during a storm and my tenant couldn't go to work in the morning. That's the only time I ever woke up in the middle of the night, because I ripped things out and I put new stuff in. I'm not gonna wake up in the middle of the night. And I never have. I tell guys all the time, I said, listen man, if you're gonna get in this thing, pretend that you're living in this building. And once you fix it up, then you don't have to cut the hole out because you patch something in. Get it fixed in, move on. And I do all my buildings that way. I've always done my buildings that way. And I promised myself if for some reason I lose the desire to do it, I'm hoping that I can pass it on to him. But other than that, no, I just don't do it. Now my worst tenant here recently, and this is my fault. The girl trashed my place. It was the worst I have ever seen. And that was my fault. Because normally what I do, every 3 to 4 months, I go by all my places and I do an inspection. But what happened on this place, I have a garage right beside it and I keep my tools in it. But I'm there all the time getting things out of my garage. and I could look over at her, but I didn't go in it. And when I went in it, it was the worst I ever seen. And I even told the lady that, I said, you know what? You should get a trophy. She said, really? I said, yes, ma'am, you should get a trophy. She said, for what? I said, you're the nastiest tenant I ever had. That's the truth. It was so bad that the sink, you wouldn't have let your best cat drink out of it. It's just that bad. That's the truth. I never seen anything like it. But it was my fault. I blame me for it. Because if I had been doing what I normally do when I got in this business, it would have never happened. So I always tell guys, I tell people this all the time, I said, inspect your building. It's in my lease, follow through on it. Don't take it for granted. And I have a checklist. I go through my checklist. And that way, if something wrong, you don't have to worry about the ceiling falling in, and all of a sudden you go in, why, what's the ceiling? Oh, it was 6 months ago. You know, if we're in the real estate business, treat it like business. And I learned my lesson. I got back on schedule again, and I go by every 3 to 4 months, and I inspect my building. I give them heads up that I'm coming, and I inspect my building. I never take no for an answer.
Another ninja trick, if you send a contractor in that you trust, I have them flick pictures of the interior of the house while they're in there. HVAC contractor, take a couple pictures. If you see anything crazy, let me know. You know, just kind of put that bug in the air, because you're sending them a lot of business, so they'll do it.
Especially with pest control, man. I tell the pest control man, I said, when you go to my place, I said, take pictures. Because I have my places sprayed every quarter. And he's in there spraying around the kitchen and stuff like that. I said, take some pictures for me if you see something. Now, I'll tell you another good story. So I had this tenant I couldn't get out. He was a drug dealer. Could not get out. I knew he was dealing drugs. Because in the middle of the night, I'm there behind the bushes looking. And I see he's dealing. And I wrote him a letter, said, listen, man, you're dealing drugs, you got to be gone. I gave him a due date to be gone. He decided he won't believe. But there was a little crack in the door. In my letter said, I need to fix my front door. So he decided that he won't believe. He has a beautiful stereo system, all that stuff in there. I took the whole door jamb off, put it on back of the truck. Went on down the road. He called me, he said, where's my door? I said, you don't have one. He said, no. He said, when you bring it back? I said, it's my door. I already told you I'm gonna fix it. I gotta fix my door. He said, when you bring it back? I said, I don't know. Listen, I didn't just take the pins out, I took the whole door jams out.
Was he out the next day?
He was out that evening. Once you write the letter, they have to honor, they have to do what you said. Yes, it did. I learned that from a gentleman in Virginia Beach, an older gentleman. He was telling me he had trouble with some people in this place, and he said, I took the whole window sash out. I said, can you do that? He said, sure. He took the whole window sash out, put it on the back of the truck, went on down the road. I said, oh, I need to remember that one. Little that I know. Time passed. And that guy wasn't going nowhere. I just took the whole door jam out. Yep.
I love it.